Today, we're going to talk about why do people hate Superman. As always, I'm joined by my friend Taylor Winder. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr, and this is the SmallTown Collectibles YouTube channel.
What's up, Jimmy?
What's going on, Taylor? How are we doing today?
Oh, I need caffeine because Superman's so boring.
So let me set this up. When I got back into collecting, a few years ago, I've always loved Superman, always.
Sure.
And I got back into collecting, and I realized fairly quickly, dude, that people hate Superman. And I thought, what? Like, it's Superman. How can you hate Superman? So, and I really was. Like, I was shocked by that. So, Taylor, kind of lay it out to me, man. Why do people hate Superman?
I've been thinking about this one all week, Jimmy, because, well, I don't hate Superman, but he's just not very interesting to me. Like, he's... You know he's never going to do the wrong thing. You know he's not going to have a moral quandary about things, and you just know he's not going to lose because nothing can hurt him. And that doesn't make for an interesting story arc. It just means like, oh, okay. And like he can hurt the people around him and stuff, but even still, he'll get a little mad, but then he'll restrain himself. And it's just dull. And I don't know. It's not necessarily just a Superman problem, but I think he's the biggest issue like that I can example I can think of that has that problem. Like, DC in general, I think has that. Marvel in the 60s when Stan Lee kind of took over and started doing stuff, they gave characters flaws and weaknesses and, different motivations. Whereas like Superman just does the right thing because he was raised by farmers. And that's not it just bores me to sleep.
So like for me, and my love of Superman started, I mean, honestly, he's like, I'm not say he's like me, but he was raised in a small town, similar to what I was. What's that?
You're wearing the same outfit.
Yes, right. No, he was raised in a small town. His parents were good, wholesome people, that raised him, to be, the American way of life. And my dad, he was a military vet. He was a coal miner, and he was real patriotic. Like, he had this idea of what America stood for, right? Like, or what the idea of America was.
Sure.
And Superman represented that to me. He was about truth, justice, and the American way. He was the best of humanity. What we all should strive to be is to be like Superman. Like, to me, that's what the character meant. And two, when I was a kid, I ran around with a cape on all the time. I thought if I jumped off the roof, I could fly. Like, my parents were legit concerned that I was going to jump off the roof. So I just had this just love for Superman. Even the stories that I would read when I was a kid, I loved them. Lex Luthor was like the ultimate arch villain to me. Those things. So like, really, when I came back and I heard, like, I'm not going to necessarily say you're wrong, that sometimes the writing can be a little boring. It can be a little cheeky. I feel like they could do better with Soup in some of the storylines.
It's called Homelander and Boys.
Yeah, well, yeah, the evil Superman, right? And Brightburn, the movie. So it's, I don't know. I just think that everybody should love Superman just because of what he represents.
I mean, I can see your point, but again, it just doesn't make it interesting. Like again, and I'm not going to stray off the topic too much, but like the Marvel sort of ideal equivalent would probably be Captain America, right?
Yeah.
But the Captain America stories that are interesting is when he's fighting a corrupt version of America. It's not when he's like upholding the good of the country and stuff. That's all just kind of nappy time. And yeah, like, like Superman doesn't have any character traits that are negative at all. Like, and that I think the audience has trouble relating to that because we're all flawed people. And I get it's an ideal to strive for, and I guess that's the entire point of the character.
Yeah.
But I don't think it necessarily makes it that fun.
So like, when the other thing with Superman is, there aren't a lot of great Superman runs necessarily. You got Brainiac, Lex Luthor, obviously.
Sure.
The Superman villains are not as good. Now, in my opinion, they're not as good, and I think that's probably what makes it less interesting. But as far as iconic books, Like Superman's it in my mind.
Sure.
Like you get back to those early Golden Age books, and I don't know this, like I probably should know this, but like Captain America, when Captain America came out, it was as much propaganda as it was anything else, wartime propaganda.
Yeah.
When Superman came out, I can't remember, do you know anything about the history of that? Was that, kind of propaganda based, or was it just
I
fun?
honestly am not. I know the timeline makes sense for it to be, but I don't know. Like, I'm not sure, honestly. So,
Yeah, but no, as far as like just the overall, the symbol means hope. Like to me, he's the character that everybody should love. I can get your point, like you're saying, as far as the storylines are a little boring. But I feel like they can, with the right writing, they could make him interesting because you got his son now, Jonathan. You got Lois Lane, the people that he loves, where you could really put them in harm's way and maybe get him to do something he shouldn't. But he's not going to kill anybody. He's not going to do anything like that. That's just not who he is.
let's see what you just said. The people around him are interesting. He's just the most boring guy in the room. Like Lois Lane's more interesting than Superman. Like Lois Lane's, I think a more interesting character. Why she chooses to be with Superman and all that kind of stuff. I think if comics were real, which is a giant leap of faith and another topic for another show, we'd all be a lot more like Lex than we would be like Superman. We'd be like trying to put down this super powerful, like terrifying being because he has the potential to destroy everything, and it's just his restraint holding him back. And that little nugget there is the only interesting thing that I can think of about Superman is like his restraint is his most interesting characteristic. Other than that, like I know they've tried and I know they've retconned him a bit and like given him weaknesses, like his weakness to magic and his weakness to like all the 9 billion flavors of kryptonite and stuff. But a weakness isn't a flaw. It's just a way to like get at the character and sort of sometimes temporarily win if you're the other side. I think in order for him to be interesting, he needs like more of a flaw. And like Batman's a flawed character. He's driven by vengeance, and it's a flaw. And again, I watched your like excellent interview with pop culture philosopher, Rocket Robbie Billups. And I agree to his point. Like we could, and your point as well. We could strive to be Superman, but that doesn't mean we're going to read Superman. Like we all try to make ourselves a better person, but it just doesn't hold interest. Especially, I mean, I've tried. I tried reading a couple of issues of the Bendis run, and oh man, was it a sleeper. And I don't know. It's just, I think the general populace can't relate.
So what about the Superman movies? Like, for me, the Christopher Reeves Superman movies to me are better than any of the others that have been made. Now, Man of Steel was good. I like Man of Steel because it was a little more dark, deconstructionist, version of Superman. Do you think that the same thing relays over into the movies as it does with the comic books as far as making him an interesting character?
I think they did a better job in the movies, honestly. And I mean, I love the first two. I grew up in them, and I'm not sure how much of that is because they are just sort of cartoony and cheesy and pastiche, or just part of my childhood where I can't look at them objectively. Like Superman 2, I think is great. But again, the reason I think Superman 2 is great is because of Zod and the villains.
You have great villains.
So I don't know. And like, when Superman gets depowered, that's interesting. So it's just, those there are ways to write him to make him interesting. It's just, I think in general, and I don't think a lot of people are going to give him a chance, is because they just, you need a flaw, and that's part of the issue DC has as a whole, like the future state. Like I don't know if you've read any of them. Like the young Superman has a flaw; he's arrogant and does dumb shit, like bottle Kendor or bottle Metropolis right off the bat, and that's stupid. So stupidity is a flaw that I can relate to. And I think we can all sure. But like Superman. He's insanely intelligent. He's righteous, and boy, righteousness is great. But you don't want to hang out with righteousness. You don't want to get a drink with righteousness. You don't want to have a video podcast with righteousness. You want to go have a drink with Batman and be like, "Why are you so sad, bro?" Like that's.
No, I mean, all those points make sense. Like I said, I just love the guy. I just never realized that there was so much Superman hate. It never, like I said, I just loved him so much. And it could be a lot of the nostalgia like you talk about. as a kid, that's who I loved. I ran around with a cape on.
Sure.
I just thought it was the greatest thing ever. I thought Christopher Reeves was like the coolest dude on the planet. I mean, just it could be some nostalgia, and two, a lot of what I got to watch as a kid, as far as cartoon wise, was like Super Friends, and I watch Super Friends right now. Those old cartoons. And Superman was kind of the lead, and always kind of the leader, him, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And so I don't know. I just found it interesting, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about why people hate him so bad. And I think you make some good points as far as the writing is concerned. They can make, because they did a good job with Captain America, who was a similar type character in the Marvel movies. They did a good job of really kind of making him a little flawed and making him somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
With all the other characters, there's so many strong characters around him. They did a good job. I think DC could do something like that with Superman if they really wanted to.
They could. It's just kind of, he's a tricky character because like, in order to stay true to what he is, you can't have him mess up a lot, know, or you can have it, but it has to be unintentional. It can't be an intentional, it can't be an intentional turning to evil for a second, because that's not Superman. It's just not who he is. Mom and Pa Kent would roll over, and they're not dead, are they? They're still alive in the comics. I haven't read them in a while, but yeah, they just he was raised right, and so he's going to act right, and that's horribly snoozeworthy.
I know with the comic books, like there are times where the Action Comics run with the Red Cloud, I really enjoyed.
Okay.
The Bendis run I enjoyed for the most part. There were a few kind of cheesy, books in there that I didn't really care for. Like the true, like American Picnic. It was meant to be cheesy. Sure. It was that. And I don't care for that. The Action Comics run with Red Cloud's really good. And one of my favorite storylines of all time is the Adventure Superman, where he dies. He basically gets solar radiation.
Oh, is that our Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a really good run and interesting, because it does, you see the flaw, and then he's trying to figure out, because I thought about doing a piece like what's the best way for Superman to die. And that particular run is probably my favorite one when it talks about that particular subject. So
yeah, I mean, that's Grant Morrison, right? It is. Yeah, Frank.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's an Elseworlds, not part of continuity, but that's great. It's enjoyable because they made the character interesting by making him mortal. And
yeah, no, and I mean, no, what you're saying totally makes sense. Like I said, I just, I don't know. It just kind of blew my mind. I thought everybody loved Superman, Taylor. I thought Superman is everybody's favorite character, and I found out I was wrong. So
I think, that ties back into some of the kickback gentle kickback that people have given about like the Punisher and stuff. Like the Punisher is definitely a flawed character, but people love him because of that, I think. And not in spite of it. It's just, and it's fiction, obviously, but like, you're not going to take my Punisher logo. I don't think that honestly it'd be that much kickback if like the Proud Boys or whatever started wearing a Superman logo. I think we would be like, yeah, you can have them.
Yeah. All right. We'll end it right there, guys. Let us know in the comments what you think about this subject. And also, too, if there's any topics you want Taylor and I to discuss, let us know. We're open to anything. I just this kind of came out of last week's conversation. We can talk about, Taylor just offhanded mentioned it last week, and then it wouldn't leave my mind. So I was like, all right, let's talk about that. So
yeah, leave a comment down below about who your favorite characters are. We can tell you all why everybody hates them too.
Yeah, we'll tell you why they suck too. Yeah, no. But we appreciate you guys watching. We've had a good response thus far to this, and we're going to keep trying to go on. Make sure you go over to Taylor's page and sub up. He's got some killer content coming out, the comic book reviews, doing some unboxings. He's got some other things planned down the road that I think you guys will dig.
I've got some like sneak preview reviews lined up and stuff where I'm going to get early access to a couple books and get to go over them kind of early. And I'm going to review some older trade paperbacks that people might have missed out on. And yeah, lots of stuff down the pipeline. That's not just mystery boxes, because we could talk about that as a future topic, as why mystery boxes are boring as hell. They're the Superman of the comic book industry.
Damn you, Taylor Winder. Damn you. But no, and all my stuff will be down in the description below too, along with Taylor's. And guys, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with Taylor and I for just a few minutes. Hope you found this topic enjoyable. And as always in these things, until next time.
Don't be a dick.
Absolutely. Don't be a dick like Taylor and hate Superman. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, be a do-gooder.